It's the maximum possible prison sentence for a Midwest school teacher now convicted of sexually abusing multiple students.
Welcome back to Looking for Better Days. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, click all so you can be notified anytime that I upload. And let's get into it. This is going to be an interesting story here. See what they're talking about.
Of sexually abusing multiple students.
She believes these things, I imagine, to be relationships. Because of that, she doesn't view them as being predatory or wrong in that sense.
But for 24-year-old Cassidy Krause, those relationships.
You know what I find funny? Sorry, I know they just started talking, but I find it funny that no matter what, the women that do these type of crimes, they always have excuses for them. The men, they're just evil, they're a piece of crap. Whatever, and that's fine. I believe both genders are a piece of crap who participate in these type of activities. But notice the wording and how they're coming across for this lady. I think it's really interesting.
Made way for multiple criminal charges, a guilty plea for all counts, and a 33-year prison sentence.
You compartmentalize that role as
33
being
years, okay.
authority figure, and you start using the role as being a lover or a romantic partner.
We first told you about Cassidy Krause back in October when she was arrested for sexually abusing multiple young boys between ages 13 and 14. Krause was a middle school reading teacher in Manning, Iowa.
So it sounds like another case of them catching her doing something. Another person where they caught in the act before, and then it looks like they released them, and then they did more. What more do you have to see in order to get the pattern here? It doesn't look like these people want change. They just want to continue to do what they do.
Hours west of Des Moines. Investigators there say Krause used Snapchat to send explicit photos
There we go again
to
with
at least
Snapchat.
3 children in the first 6 months of 2022. On top
Oh
of
my
that,
goodness.
she molested 2 13-year-olds in May of that same year. The abuse
So-
continued into January 2023 when she performed sex acts with a 14-year-old. She resigned from her position as a teacher back in August when an investigation into the sexual abuse began. For all these allegations, Krause faced 6 charges, including sex abuse.
This is crazy. That's 5 different victims that they just named. And only 33 years? I swear, I don't know if they're holding women's hand in society or what, but it's got to stop. That is crazy. 5 different victims. They just named 5 different people. I'm assuming all children. Like, and they said, I think the one was what, 14 or something? Or I don't know. I'd have to watch it back, but that's crazy.
2 counts of lascivious acts with a child, and 3 counts of dissemination of obscene material to minors. Forensic psychologist Dr. John Delatorre says it's likely Krause wasn't thinking about the implications when she committed the crimes.
I think sometimes the person has to condition themselves to think that everything is okay. I think she understood. Most people understand that you clearly cannot sexually abuse.
Do you see all the excuses they keep making? Like, I think maybe this, I think maybe that. If it was a man who did this crime, he would have been under the jail. They would have asked for excuses at his, the death sentence. That's what they would have asked for excuses. That they wouldn't have asked for anything up until that point. I find this quite interesting because society seems to be very lenient on females who commit the same atrocities that men do. And they make up excuses and then they just let these people back out into society and they're like, oh, she's a mother, we gotta feel sorry. Or oh, she's got kids, we gotta feel sorry. If a dad did this, they'd be looking at him like, does he do it to the kids too? I've yet to see none of these people be questioned or analyzed for if they have done the same thing to their children when they're women. Not one.
Children, you shouldn't be abusing anybody at any time of any kind. But even despite that knowledge, and even in trainings, I imagine she's been told that you need to not touch your students, there was still something that was there that kind of overrode all of
So
that,
maybe we're going with
understanding all
mental
of those
abuse. What are
principles
we
that she
trying to
had.
say?
There was
Or
some
mental
kind of
illness?
personal need that was
Look at this.
overriding all of those kinds of things.
Why would a teacher
Personal
or a
need.
person
What?
of power abuse their position like this?
Because they
Because
can.
they can't.
I mean,
I was about to say
essentially,
the same thing.
there's always this question of,
Because
well,
they
there
can.
must be some kind of underlying pathology that's going on. And sometimes there is, but usually it's because the person can. If they didn't want to do it, then they wouldn't have done it. But
Pretty
there's some
much.
kind of interest, right? In this case, we have sexual interest. There was some kind of interest that continued this process of abuse going, where the person just believed that what they were doing was not wrong.
Krause pleaded guilty
How do you?
to all the charges back in January, going up against some strong evidence from the prosecution, including communication via Snapchat and explicit photos of Krause herself. She knows that all of this is wrong, and yet is taking explicit photos that can be tracked and are on Snapchat. Why would she do that?
Well, because
This is another thing about them with the maybe they're guilty. The one story I did the other day, the lady was caught in the act on a construction site, and they were still saying she's innocent until proven guilty. Where does this law apply to like normal people like you and I? I've never seen I don't know if they favoritism. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what that is.
in her mind, she's having a relationship with them. That's the crux of all of this. All of these things, Snapchat, right, text messages, right, all of these, sexually explicit stuff, all of those things happen in healthy relationships.
Also developing tonight, a former daycare owner in the Bronx sentenced to 45 years in prison after pleading guilty to several drug charges.
That's right. The charges stem from the death of a 1-year-old who was exposed to fentanyl at the daycare. Fox 5's Arthur Chan is live outside federal court.
Jeez, fentanyl at the daycare, bro. Where can we bring our children that they're not in danger? Where can we bring the kids that they are not in danger? You're selling drugs. Not only are you selling drugs, you're taking care of kids. Not only are you taking care of kids and selling drugs, you're bringing the drugs to the daycare, I'm assuming, because the kid had to be in close contact with the drugs. So that means either you had the drugs on your fingers and then you touched the kid, or the drugs were in the building and somehow the kids got a whiff, or I don't know how fentanyl works. But either way, what is going on? Somebody explain it to me.
In Lower Manhattan, where her sentence was handed down. Arthur.
Steve, Natasha, the woman's name is Gray Mendez. She was the woman who basically was the head of that Bronx daycare where all of this unfolded. She was just sentenced to 45 years in prison, as you said. Now, this is a case that horrified New Yorkers who learned of it as it unfolded. And in fact, it horrified anybody who heard about what happened at that daycare in the Bronx. Now, immediately following the sentencing, the parents of the 1-year-old boy who was killed spoke. Their heartbreak appeared to be as raw as when this all came to light 2 years ago. Their son, just 22 years old, Nicholas Dominici, died after he and 3 others were exposed to fentanyl. This according to court papers, which said the daycare that was entrusted with protecting them, the Vino Nino, actually was functioning as a secret stash house where fentanyl and heroin was prepared for distribution on a regular basis. Investigators even found a kilo-sized brick of...
That's exactly what I said. So the drugs were in the daycare. Why? Why? Of all places, listen. If you feel like you need to sell drugs, it's not morally correct, but whatever. Do what you gotta do. But why in your building, your place of your place of work, and then why around children at all? And by saying you need to, do what you gotta do with selling drugs, I'm not saying that it's okay or morally correct. I'm just saying that it is a thing. People are gonna do what they feel like doing. But in this case, somebody lost a life because you were careless. You were reckless. Come on, man.
Fentanyl inside a closet of the daycare facility, in addition to other equipment used for drug smuggling. Now, Gray Mendez was accused of calling her husband multiple times, allegedly to clear the drugs, while waiting before calling 911, even as the 4 very young children were severely overdosing. And by the time help arrived, it was too late for Nicholas.
Overdosing, like what? Were the kids like? Did they get into the? Oh my god! This is just as bad as like having a firearm and not having a place to put it that is not accessible to a child. This is just as stupid. This is very reckless. And the big difference between having a firearm is more than likely if you had one, it's probably registered. These drugs were you can't. Those are illegal. There's no way.
After this sentencing, Nicholas's parents spoke in an emotional press conference, drawing a painful distinction between receiving justice in a court of law and receiving justice in life. To make sure we get it right, our own Stephanie Bertini translates for us.
This is crazy.
Nicholas is not going to come back ever. In one way there was justice, and now I want divine justice.
Look at the mom, man. Look at the pain in her eyes.
I wish Nicholas was coming back, but he's not.
That's insanity, bro.
Separately, Mendez's husband has already been sentenced also to 45 years in federal prison in connection with this case. One would hope that this allows Nicholas's family to start a new chapter.
Surprised they didn't cook her.
It's hard to imagine that starting
more than that
anytime soon. We're live at the
An Omaha woman allegedly admits she had sex with a high school student, but swears she was never one of his teachers.
Kind of
We're
splitting
taking a
hairs at that
closer
point.
Look at this latest sexual abuse case with criminal defense attorney and former sex crimes prosecutor Serena Townsend. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Search warrant is giving us new details about the case of Erin Ward. This is the 45-year-old substitute teacher who was arrested in Omaha,
Substitute
Nebraska,
teacher, huh?
for allegedly having sex with a 17-year-old. And the way she got caught is pretty crazy. So according to deputies, they were called out to a suspicious car that was parked at the end of a dead-end street on April 13th around 3 a.m. Deputies see two people in the back seat. The male got into the driver's seat, took off without the headlights on, crashed 2 blocks away into a field, and this naked 17-year-old male got out of the car, took off running. Deputies say they found Ward in the back seat trying to put her clothes back on.
You know, I don't know how people perceive this, but if a kid's under 18, in my opinion, he's underage. But I know that some places in the world, like, you can be under 18 and I guess still have consensual sex with an adult. I don't really see how, but let's get back to it.
And about an hour later, deputies found the teenager when a homeowner 2 miles away reported the boy had shown up at their home saying he'd been in an accident. He was wearing reportedly boxers, a T-shirt, and socks. Both the teen and Ward, they were treated at the hospital for minor injuries from the crash. Now, Ward, as I said, was a substitute teacher at Burke High School in Omaha, Nebraska. She faces now 1 count of felony sexual abuse by a school employee. What does that mean? What could happen? What could be a defense? Let me bring on criminal defense attorney and former sex crimes prosecutor Serena Townsend.
I'm gonna be honest, y'all. That last story might be like on the fence for some people. To me, it's the same thing. I don't know. It's kind of strange. 17 to 45, you're in 2 different dimensions as far as how you think and how you carry yourself. And whatever. If it's legal, I guess it's legal. I'm not sure with that one. So, but either way, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Please turn it on all so you can be notified the next time that I upload. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.